Welcome back. You are watching Morning Express on KTN and would now like to talk animation and arts, the arts, I should say. In studio, I've got three gentlemen, young, geeky, innovators, yeah? When I say geeky, you can tell from the names. One of them is called Point Blank. I don't know what that means, but Brian Baraza, thank you for joining us. Point Blank in the middle over there, thank you for coming in. And we have Thomas Mboyo, who is also one of the animators. Thank you all for joining us. So how do we refer to you guys? Are you animators? Are you innovators? Is it, or the whole mix of it?
I think first and foremost, we are nerds.
You're nerds.
We're just nerdy guys.
That's the term.
Doing our thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're holding books here and thinking that you guys are geeks. You shouldn't be holding anything paper. But maybe I'm mistaken. So tell me about what it is that you're holding.
So in my hands, I'm holding comic books. And the beauty about the comic books I'm holding is they're all local comic books.
All right, let's take a look. What is Home Guard?
So this is Home Guard, actually by Point Blank.
By Point Blank. Point Blank, you want to tell us about Home Guard?
Yeah, Home Guard was, we wanted to tell a story as PB Productions that was based strictly on the noir period of 1970s Kenya, because when you look at the CBD, it's a city stuck in time. And we decided we were going to tell a sci-fi story, but instead of sci-fi, let's start with just a detective story based in the CBD in the 70s. So Home Guard is a detective story in the 70s of Nairobi. Fully fiction.
Okay, interesting. So you're taking us back in time as well. Okay, and we also have another here, Short Wonder, The Legend Begins. This looks like, yeah. This one looks like you.
No.
No? It's not you?
No. That's actually a lady, a superhero.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, but who did it?
This was done by a gentleman
Thomas?
called Movin Were. He's one of the guys who attend Nikon as a comic artist. He's done a couple of other works too, but this is one of his flagship projects for Nikon, the first Nikon we did.
Okay, and it's about this lady heroine. Is she Kenyan or
she is Kenyan? She's actually Kenyan.
What's the story about?
It's about a superpowered being. She's a chick trying to find her identity. She's struggling with these powers that she doesn't know where they came from, and she's looking for her identity and trying to navigate through modern life as a lady in Nairobi.
Okay, and then we have Dawn. By Ken Andrew Mudhui, is
Ken
it?
Andrew. That's Ken Andrew Mudhui and Maurice Mudhui. Dawn is a sci-fi novel. It's about, it fuses a bit of ancient mythology with a bit of sci-fi and just tries to communicate a story of, to show how we are all connected as a human race. We are all one. It has a common ancestry, and that's what it talks about.
Okay, and let's quickly run through the two of them. We have the continent, is it?
Yeah, the continent.
Cool. This one looks like a Shaka Zulu kind of story.
The continent is it's quite it's an interesting book because it explores the possibility of what if the colonial powers came and they were repelled by the whole of the continent, and how the African tribes and people just developed using their own science, their own arts, the military advancements, and they grew a culture and a civilization that ruled Africa.
All right, and we have the Vibons, if I got this right.
Vibonzo.
Vibonzo.
Yeah,
right, Vibonzo.
Swahili
okay.
Cartoons, basically.
Clearly, I'm not doing that well. All right, what's it about?
Vibonzo is a collection of four stories.
Okay, what is Demchungu? Yeah?
Demchungu is one of the stories in Vibonzo. They're basically four stories. So we have Demchungu from Movin Were again. We have Raboli, which means from one. It's a story of a freshman.
I need to read this one.
So his first experience in school. We have something from Shin called Vladimiri, and of course Kevo from Tsunami Studio.
All right, so you sell these books, yeah? I'm seeing their prices as well on here, 50 shillings, and well, there's some of them that do not have the price tag on them. Then we have the Home Guard that is 500 shillings. And then we also have the Wonder one, that is The Legend Begins at 350. Is it still the same pricing?
Yeah, it should be the same price. What happens is that we basically give a platform for comic book creators, animators, and game developers to come together and to explore the arts in especially what they're doing. So Nikon is a platform, and Thomas will talk more about it in depth. Basically, it's a platform we give to young creative guys to come and showcase what they have, and also just grow that industry going forward.
All right, so we have these books here. Have you guys thought of, and this question is to Thomas, have you thought of, you know, making it now some sort of game, maybe PS Station and things like that, that we're having from elsewhere around the world?
Just to mention on that, actually, Nikon in itself focuses on three areas: animation, gaming, and cosplay. Animation, gaming, and comic books. And so something like cosplay is derived from all these things. Guys dress up as people they see in superhero movies, in gaming, in animation. And so it basically focusing on all these three areas. We have game developers who are local born, guys who make, like, we have guys like Letiats who made their own game. They actually have a base in Kenya and another one in Ghana. Interesting that you had someone from Ghana. And so they also have something called, it's a comic book reader, that guys can be able to get comic books from a digital platform. And so also something like comic books now, where we have local comic artists who made their own content, like Home Guard, and Shore Wanda, and local artists who are making their own content. And also just beyond that, also we have now the animators who we have brought on board. Like now, in terms of just in itself, is not just where guys come, get to see what international guys have to offer. It's what local guys also have to showcase. And just beyond that, it's a fun experience where you come, mingle with, like you said, it's kind of nerds, because we've been branded that, and we're proudly that, but it's an industry in itself. It's an
but
industry
how
where people are
accepted
employed.
do you feel in your field as nerds? You know, because when you talk to techies in general, they have that challenge of being accepted, either because you're young or you don't look mature enough, you know, to even know what you're talking about. And that is a challenge that I think cuts across, you know, all the software innovators or software developers and nerds like yourselves. But how do you find acceptance? How do you get to that point?
I think acceptance is in the quality of your work. Where we've reached, it's not really what you're titled as, but it's what are you bringing out? What are you contributing to society? And so if it's a story you're telling, if it's an experience you want people to go through, if it's artwork you want to put out, it's basically how good are you doing it, and what level of quality in terms of content are you putting out. And so if it's acceptance, because mostly if you look at it, most creatives are very reserved. They'll just sit in the house, they'll create, and then they'll put it out there. Some may be scared to put it out there, but that's why we have Nikon. Bring it, let people have an experience of what you have to produce.
Okay, so seeing as nerds in general have a hard time expressing themselves, and I want to bring in Point Blank in this one, because he's been the silent one throughout this conversation. Do you think that maybe you need a salesperson on the side, so while you do the back work, which is the techie work, someone else needs to speak on your behalf?
Well, to touch on the element of the nerdy effect, like the funny part is, as the generations have come to pass, I come from the generation of guys where being a nerd was probably taboo, and you don't come publicly and you just say that. And now we live in a world where the biggest film industry is being controlled by the guys who created for that particular target market. And when we come forth with the material that we've introduced, we finally found that people will accept every single piece of art which we create as long as there's a good backstory to come with it. So in a sense, the Kenyan market just looked at the global market and adapted. So it's one advantage to why I can actually sell comic books locally, 100% sold to Kenyans by Kenyans, and it's a profit in itself.
All right, so most of the game books that we see, the animations that we see, you know, Superman, Batman, Incredible Hulk, and things like that. Do you think we're coming close to getting to the part where we're going to see more of Kenyan African content being put out there? Maybe like a Shaka Zulu or
I believe so.
Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, you know, being
I
animated as well.
I believe so. And the only crazy
to us
part
about things like that.
The crazy thing about it is this: like we've always wanted to make such adaptations to that, because one reason why I personally had to come up with my own publication company is because local publishing companies and houses just said, well, your book looks way too European, which was for lack of a better word, idiotic. Because when a person tells me he wants to capture my attention as far as literature is concerned, but thinks I am tabooed because I'd rather read a Tintin than read anything else. It's one of like, and it's funny, like I'm not trying to say this to like boost on ego or anything. Standard Group was one of the first people to actually put out a comic book, like as far as on books that kept us curious. And it was a local publication called Miguel CD.
Yeah.
And it disappeared. So whoever's in the editorial who's watching this, can you please just do the rerun again? And pay Mado if you have to, but just do reruns of that.
Yeah.
And to move on to the level of wanting to have a Hulk of our own, like there's so many stories we could tell about that. And you look at the strongman mentality we have of the people of Western Kenya and Western Africa, and you look at the witty side. We look at people from Ethiopia because that's the land of the kings and things like that. When you look at all these story tie lines, I mean, Marvel Comics has a character who's based on Central Africa, a nation that was never colonized. It's like he basically took Ethiopia and just loosely turned it into something else.
Yeah.
And then you move on to wanting to have games. I mean, I know like there's Tsunami Studios have been working on game development for a minute now, and nobody knows these companies because no, we're not vocally out there. But we'd rather have our product be something that actually leads to conversation. If you've never met me, but you've read my book, that
All right.
counts.
Okay, so we have a Nikon event coming up. What's it about, Brian? And do you think that we are going to see not just the three of you, but everyone else? Yeah, and by the way, do ladies do these animations and things? You have some of them?
They do.
As gamers.
Just to, on the lady animators, there's one who I really respect. She's called Ngendo Muki. She does some really awesome animation. I'll just put that out there. But as far as Nikon is concerned, what we expect to see at the event, we have, like we mentioned, animation, gaming, and comic books. But more than that, we have an experience that guys are going to get. We are going to have guys coming in cosplay. Guys are dressing up. And if you ever look at some of the videos that we've done from the event, you'll see guys are dressed up in their favorite characters, gaming, animation. We want to get to a point we can also do local stuff, comic books, like someone does cosplay for a character from Home Guard. But more than that, we're also going to have workshops that we'll be running, creative workshops, animation workshops. We're getting guys in the industry who've gone before, who've been ahead. Guys like Madu, we have guys like Mutende who do graphic, they've done novels. They're coming to talk to the guys about how they got to this point and how guys can monetize this.
All right,
And
so where's this going to be?
this is going to be at the Village Market.
Okay.
That's on the 27th and the 28th, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you all so much, Brian Barasa. And we also had Point Blank. Okay, I need to know your real names. And we also had Thomas Mboyo, the organizers of the Nikon event. So you need to take part in this one. Go to Village Market and see what our young innovators and animators are coming up with. And don't take it for granted. This has the potential to rake in billions of shillings for Kenya. So have a fantastic weekend. My name is Joy Doreen Bira. Coming up next is Wild View. And God bless you.